Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, let's talk about the latest buzz surrounding the AFC North and how it might spell some serious trouble for the Cleveland Browns rivals, especially when it comes to the backfield drama happening right now across the league. You see, the NFL is a constant game of chess, and right now, the Chargers are making some bold moves, or at least they're trying to. Rumors are swirling that Los Angeles might pull the trigger on a trade for a running back before the upcoming deadline in November, and this isn't just idle speculation. It's based on the mounting injuries and the overall instability in their backfield. And for Browns fans, this is important because it could shake up the entire landscape of the AFC North moving forward, especially if the Chargers pull off a trade that gives them a real weapon out of the backfield. Let's set the scene a bit. The Chargers went into this season with high expectations, especially on offense. They made some significant investments in their running game, bringing in Najee Harris from the Steelers on a one-year deal worth over $5 million. Harris, for those who don't follow every detail, had a solid start to his career with 4 consecutive 1-0-yard rushing seasons in Pittsburgh, which is no small feat. But this year, things took a turn for the worse. Harris suffered an eye injury during a fireworks accident in July, pretty bizarre, right? But he was back in time for the season opener against the Chiefs in Brazil, which was a big moment for the Chargers. Unfortunately, that game was a bit of a false start because Harris only got 1 carry, and just 2 weeks later, disaster struck again. Harris tore his Achilles, ending his season prematurely. That's a big blow for the Chargers because Harris was supposed to be their lead back, someone they could rely on to carry the load, especially with his past production. But now, Harris is heading back to the open market next year unless the Chargers decide to re-sign him, which seems unlikely given the injury history and the current circumstances. But it's not just Harris who's facing trouble. The Chargers also invested a first-round pick, Omarion Hampton, from North Carolina, who had been showing promise. Through 5 games, Hampton was proving to be the clear number 1 back for Los Angeles. He had amassed 314 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on 66 carries, along with 20 catches for 136 yards. This guy was emerging as a dual threat, and many analysts saw him as a future star. However, just when things seemed to be looking up, Hampton got hurt too. During a loss to the Commanders last Sunday, Hampton injured his ankle, which led to him being placed on injured reserve earlier this week. That means he'll miss at least 4 games, all of which will happen before the trade deadline. So suddenly, the Chargers find themselves in a pretty tight spot. Their run game is now being handled by unproven guys like Hassan Haskins and Kimani Vidal. Haskins, a guy with just 64 carries across parts of 3 NFL seasons, is exactly a proven commodity. Vidal, a 6th-round pick from Troy, has only 4 carries this season and 47 total since joining the league last year. It's not exactly a recipe for stability, and it gets even more complicated. The Chargers have some practice squad options, like Nyheim Hines and Amar Johnson, but neither of them is ready to step in and fill that role seamlessly. Hines, who tore his ACL in a jet ski accident last year, hasn't played in a regular season game since 2022, making him a risky choice. Johnson, an undrafted rookie from South Dakota State, has no NFL game experience at all. So, unless the Chargers can find a veteran or a proven player to bring in before the deadline, they might be forced to look outward, possibly making a trade. And here's where it gets really interesting for Browns fans. If the Chargers decide to go all in and acquire a running back, they might target some familiar names. One potential target could be Breece Hall from the Jets. Hall has been impressive this season, showing flashes of the player who was one of the top rookies in 2022 before suffering an injury himself. Despite the Jets' struggles, they're currently 0-5. Hall has made it clear he wants to stay in New York. But with the Jets unlikely to make a miraculous turnaround, they might consider trading him, especially if they're looking to rebuild or retool for the future. On the other hand, the Browns could also be eyeing a different option. Jerome Ford, for example, has been a productive player when healthy. During the 2023-24 season, Ford racked up over 300 rushing yards and scored 7 touchdowns on 308 carries. He's a versatile back who can run and catch out of the backfield, which makes him an attractive trade target for teams looking to bolster their rushing attack. Ford is due to hit the open market in the offseason, and if Cleveland decides to listen to offers, they could get a good return. And with the Browns' current running back room, which has seen some ups and downs, adding someone like Ford could provide that extra punch needed to push the team further into playoff contention. Now, the Browns have their own stable of talented players, but the running back position has been a bit of a question mark at times. Jerome Ford, as we know, has shown he can be a game changer when healthy, but durability remains a concern. The Browns have also been cautious with their running backs, knowing how important the position is for their offensive identity. If a team like the Chargers or even other contenders show interest in Ford, the Browns will need to evaluate whether they want to cash in on that value or keep him as part of their long-term plans. What's especially fascinating here is how this potential trade market impacts the AFC North as a whole. The division is highly competitive, and every move on the trade deadline can shift the balance of power. The Browns, with their solid defense and a balanced offense led by Deshaun Watson, are looking to make a real push this year. But adding a high-impact running back could be just the boost they need to solidify their ground game and give defenses more to worry about. On the flip side, if the Chargers or another team lands a game-changing back, that could mean big trouble for the Browns' division rivals, especially in those tight games where the running game can make all the difference. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on the Browns' current season. As of now, they're sitting pretty with a record that keeps them in the playoff hunt. Their defense has been among the best in the league, with stars like Myles Garrett leading the charge. Offensively, Deshaun Watson has shown flashes of his top-tier talent, though consistency remains a work in progress. The addition of a reliable, explosive running back could be the key to unlocking their full potential. Imagine a scenario where Jerome Ford or another back becomes the focal point of the offense, allowing Watson to operate with more play action and open up the field. That's the kind of strategic move that could define their season. But of course, all of this hinges on how the trade deadline plays out. Teams are holding their cards close to the vest, and the Browns will need to be proactive if they want to add a piece that elevates their roster. Whether it's trading for a proven veteran or waiting for the right opportunity to develop their own talent, every decision counts. And for Cleveland fans, the excitement is palpable. Every game, every play, every move at the deadline could reshape their team's prospects. The AFC North is a battlefield this year, and the Browns are right in the middle of it, fighting for every inch. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think the Browns should pursue a trade for a running back? Would you be willing to give up draft capital or players for someone who can make a difference right now? Or do you believe in the players already on the roster and think the team should wait and see? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cleveland Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. We're in a critical part of the season, and every piece of news, every development, could be the difference between a deep playoff run and an early exit. So keep your eyes peeled, Browns fans, because the next few weeks are going to be crucial. Thanks for being here, and let's keep the passion alive.